you. Today I'm going to talk to you about something that is very much involved with some gnosis. It's a spiritual concept. As Jim mentioned in my introduction, I'm going to be on a roll here presenting to you materials that I do teach in classes for abundance and prosperity. And they involve some spiritual laws. Last week I gave you a little rundown of universal law. And for those of you that weren't here, to recap, a universal law is something that affects the whole entire universe, everyone in it equally. I used gravity as an example. Gravity works the same for everyone. You don't have to believe in it. It's a universal concept. Spiritual law is very similar. It works the same for everyone. It doesn't say you yes, you no. It works the same for everyone consistently. However, unlike universal law that applies to everyone whether you believe in it or not, you have to apply spiritual laws to your life to get them to work. So, my mother told me as a young child, whenever you find yourself confronted with swallowing a bunch of frogs, go for the big ones first, because it makes the smaller ones a whole lot easier to go down. So, the spiritual law we're going to attack today is tithing. Now this is about where everyone usually shuts down, because tithing is a subject that involves giving up money. But please don't let that be something that causes you fear. Tithing, the description that Webster's gives tithing is 1/10. It originated around giving 1/10 of one's crop back to nature. If you don't save 1/10 of your crop to plant next year, you'll have nothing. You've got to have a place to start. So, with that in mind, we're going to talk about tithing and how it affects you and what it can do for you and how it is very important in moving forward in abundance and prosperity. You will find that all of the masters throughout the years, all religions practice tithing. All the masters, Napoleon Hill, Robert Kiyosaki, Gary Keller, they will all talk about tithing. It's a very important concept, and there are several who practice it and many who don't. I'll tell you my own experience with tithing. I came kicking and screaming when I first came to my church, and I thought I was the big giver. I'd open up my purse and I'd give them $2. I thought I was doing good, because if there were that many people in church and they were all given $2, that's some money for them to work from. I had no idea where they came up with the rest of their money to operate, but I thought I was doing well. And then the minister would send letters out, and he would say, oh, we're having a little trouble with the roof, or something's leaking, and can you get a little more? And I upped it all the way to 5. And I said, ooh, that doesn't even hurt. I can give 5% and no pain. So I continued that for quite a while. Then I got another one of those letters and something else was wrong, and I upped it to $20. Well, let me tell you, it didn't take me too long to get up to 10%. And the word tithe means 10%, as I told you, as Webster described it. And I did it with fear. I did it thinking, what's going to happen? Will I have enough left if I'm giving this much to church? And I can tell you that for the very first year, it didn't cost me a dime. My income tax refund was way more than what I gave in tithes. The second year that I tithed, I increased my income by 50%, just by opening myself to new opportunities, things I hadn't seen for myself before I could now see. So basically, the universe, God, whoever your higher power is, doesn't need your money. What tithing does is changes you. It opens you up to concepts of being able to enrich yourself and go out and do more and be more and prosper. And that's what I'm going to speak to you about, is prospering over the course of weeks. Today, just tithing. So, where do you tithe? I mentioned tithing to my church. That's, if you have a church and that's where you feel like tithing, my best advice on where to tithe is where you receive your spiritual food. Spiritual food, for me, is something that happens when there's something that reminds you who you are at a soul level. And you know when that happens. Each and every one of us is probably different for, but you know when you're touched by something or someone that changes your life and makes you say, oh yes, that's what I'm here for. I'm not just here to diaper the children or do the laundry. I'm here for a purpose. And every single day, you can realize that by just spending some time thinking about it. And last week, as I was preparing, I don't always tithe to I tithe to my church, but not always necessarily only to my church. And often I include people I know or people who've touched my life. And although he's not here today, I have to tell you that I have a check all made out, prepared to send to Manesh. Manesh has changed my life in so many ways, and not just through Toastmasters. He was my boss for a long time, and he got several of us at work to interested in delivering Meals on Wheels, and those are just the kinds of things I can now not envision myself not delivering Meals on Wheels. So he is definitely someone who makes a huge difference in my life. And so it's not that I will tithe to him every week, but I just realized last week that that was something that I need to do, and it works for me. Tithing, you only tithe on your own income. My husband, unfortunately, does not believe in tithing like I do, but I always tithe. And I get very excited about when new money comes in. Where am I going to tithe to? And I love that time where I look and say, who spiritually fed me this week? Because that really will enrich your life to spend time each week or each pay period or however often you get money, you know. If you find a dime on the streets, vow to give a penny of it away. It will change your life. And it is indeed one of the spiritual laws necessary to live a life of abundance and prosperity. Need versus tithe, I have that on my notes. Giving to need. Give to need, but don't give your tithes to need. Your first 10% goes to your spiritual source, whatever that is. If it's your church, your synagogue, your temple, wherever that is, that's your spiritual source. Giving money to Aunt Mary because she has a problem getting through the week is not tithing. That's a gift. Still give your gifts. You can never outgive your Creator, but do not consider your tithes to be your gifts. I hope I've given you some information today that can carry you forward. Swallow that big frog. Like I said, it's a hard one, and it'll get easier in coming weeks. Thank you.